Welcome back to the Worship Keys podcast, or if this is the first time listening, thanks for listening. So today I'm joined by Nate Burch, actually a longtime friend of mine. We go way, way back to middle school in Pell City. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Wow, there's not much.
Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie.
So I am a musician. I'm a vocalist. I'm a classically trained vocalist. Yes. We went to college together, Jacksonville State University.
That's right.
He got his life together before me and graduated earlier than I did, but it's fine. And now I am enjoying life as the director of choirs at Pell City High School in Alabama.
He's an incredible vocalist, and the whole podcast today is about how to accompany vocalists from the organ and from the keyboard. So we're excited to get into some tips. But before we do that, Nate, I want you to share about your experience learning the piano. Kind of take us back to when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, your first experiences learning the piano, what you listened to, what were your inspirations, who were your heroes, and talk all about, you're originally from Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Which is cool.
I think my first time ever paying attention to music was, as cliche as it sounds, was in church.
Yeah.
I was 5 and I had just been placed with my now adopted family. And so the church that we were at, there wasn't a musician there. It was also my first time ever hearing live singing. I don't remember at this age now if it was beautiful or not, but I know that either way it captivated me.
Yeah.
I still remember one of the first songs that I could sing from memory soon after that. It was, greater is he that's within me, greater is he that's within me, greater is he that's within me than he that's in the world. Wow, that came out of nowhere. I just remembered that. So so fast forward maybe 3 years later, 8, about to turn 9, still have not heard live accompaniment ever. So in church, this lady walks in and she sits down at the piano and she played everything, every song that was sung. Because I remember, so apparently everyone knew that she was going to be there that day. Mm-hmm. And so I think the pastor may have had a conversation with, those who were leading at the time. It was called devotion. Now we call it praise and worship. He said, okay, when she comes, call out the hymn number and she'll just play it. So I remember all these numbers being called out, and I didn't know what was going on, but I saw my mom with a hymnal in her hand, and she was just flipping. And so every song that was called out, she played it. What I thought it was flawless. So that really captivated me. Yeah. Weeks later, maybe months later, I don't know, I had enough courage to ask my mom if I could go up there and sit beside her. I was so sure that she was going to say no because she was that type of mother. Yeah. But she said yes. Mm-hmm. So I went up and I remember I sat on her right side, and at the final cadence, she said, "Put your hand right here." And I played that one note. Man, you couldn't tell me nothing. Oh. So I thought I was somebody. And then shortly after that, my mom asked if I wanted lessons, and I was like, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So really, I feel my first lesson was October 21st, 2007.
Wow.
So I think, 2006. So I think that's when my life really began, right there in that moment.
So, and you were nine years old when you had
for
your first lesson?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Same here, man. Same here. Yes, that's very cool, man.
But so now she only read music. I know that she knew scales and chords, but she wasn't one who could play by ear. I started off with I think it's John W. Shum, those books, and they're organized by color, Yeah. I did maybe 4 of those books, and then she realized that I had an ability to play by ear. Yeah. In between her, talking to me during my lesson, I would just doodle and stuff like that. And I remember many times she would catch me trying to figure something out because I would keep playing it over and over. Then I think she may have had a conversation with my pastor's wife at the time. This was maybe my second year in lessons by this time, because we got a new pastor, and his wife could play the organ. So oftentimes they would play together. So I remember her like sending me up to the pastor's wife and to see what she was doing, because she only played by ear.
Okay.
So I would just watch her and just gain things that way. But yeah, she actually taught me how to modulate.
Okay.
Because
very awesome.
because there was this one song,
Which I know you love to do.
listen, I will do it. There was this one song that went, Jehovah Jireh, my provider. Dun, dun, dun. That's what he is to me. And I remember learning that song in youth choir. And she took that song up like all 12 keys. So by the end of it, Jehovah Jireh, it was, but I remember loving that song for that reason. So I asked her to show, like, I didn't know what the word modulating was. So I asked her to show me how she's doing that. And she showed me, and like that was just another level that changed my life there too. So
And how old were you when you were learning how to modulate?
that, oh man, maybe 11.
11. Wow.
11, yeah. I already knew my scales, right? I knew all of my major and minor scales, and I had learned enough hymns that I could recognize patterns in any key, like 1 5 6, 1 4 5, all of those things. I could just do those, but my ear at the time wasn't developed enough to know that that's what was happening.
Oh, okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when she told me that and showed me that, I was like, okay, I can do this.
That's good.
Yeah. And it took me a while.
So one practical tip when you're modulating, do you just go to the 5 of the next key? Or what do you do?
So like for gospel music, that's typically what we do. So like, so Jehovah, so that song, Jehovah Jireh, my provider. That's what he is to me. Yeah, so you do that for gospel songs,
right?
Because like it's
with the 7 in there too. Yeah,
of course, because it's like an extension of that measure, basically. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's part of that cadence, right? And we know that the progression starts over.
Yeah.
So somehow the Black church has just adapted that. Like, because even here with my choir here, they have pretty good ears to just hear things like that. Oh, the music has suddenly changed. What changed? It got higher. Okay, here we go. Let's sing it now, but right here. I don't recall any song that modulates on like a 1. Wouldn't that be gross?
Yeah, that'd be gross.
I just think that's nasty. Yeah. Now, if you're out there, God bless you. But I just it's not for me.
Yeah. Funny story about me and Nate. We met each other. Was it 7th or 8th grade?
I got here in 8th grade.
Okay, yeah, you got so it couldn't have been 7th grade. Okay, yeah, I don't because I was like I don't quite recall, but I do recall 8th grade for sure. When you came, did you come in the middle of the year, or were you there at the very front?
I was there the whole year.
Okay, so we met each other at Christmas, right? We met each other at Christmas.
Yes.
We were asked to play just some music.
What was this event that they had set up?
Your PE period, there was a little stage in the gym.
Right.
And you could just bring your instrument to school and play it. So I brought my Casio keyboard at the time, which I loved.
And I had a Spectrum keyboard. I
There you
still
go.
remember. And from what I remember, it wasn't like a full school assembly thing. It was just whoever wanted to be there was there.
But we were able, I think we played every period, right? We at least got out of every class and went back to PE and performed.
Is that how that was? I don't remember.
It's been so long ago. We're getting so old now. But I do remember we performed multiple times that day.
We did. We sang a lot.
And we met at that point, and it was like, bro.
That was mid-year.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And so, I remember seeing my keyboard. So I think this keyboard didn't have all 88 keys. But listen, I thought I was somebody because I had a keyboard, right? So I bring mine in, and then I see someone else's. I don't see who's playing it yet. I just see someone else's, and I'm like, it's a lot better than mine.
Oh no.
So immediately I felt intimidated, like, ooh, is he gonna make me feel inferior? Is he gonna steal my thunder? Is he gonna take my chances at trying to, bag my crush at the moment, But then we met and just as kind of, and I think you offered to let me use your keyboard.
Yeah, man. That's so great.
So that was great.
And you tore that thing up, man.
Man,
you were tearing it up.
I was trying.
We were only, 12 years old at the time?
Yeah.
Maybe 13.
Yeah, ish, yeah.
Ish. Well, you weren't quite 13 yet, because I turned, because you're in January.
It may have been 13, yeah.
Okay, you might have just been 13.
Because it was 2010.
That's right.
8th grade was 2010.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I was 13.
Dating ourselves, yeah.
I'm older than Carson.
Yes.
By like 5 months.
That's right. But that's the first time we met, and then we didn't really, we weren't immediately just best friends, but 9th grade and 10th grade, we talked more when we were hanging out. We had homeroom together, yes.
Yeah, so
and then we started
it.
singing happy birthday to people together.
Yes, to any and everybody.
Anyone and everyone.
It didn't matter if they had asked or anything like that. We just started singing.
And we would always change it up a little bit, you know. And typically I'd be on the melody and you'd be on the harmony, I believe.
Well, let's talk about,
Okay.
I didn't know what harmony was until those moments.
Really?
I had never heard the word harmony.
Wow.
I had never knew that this is something you do. That I definitely didn't know the theory behind it. I just knew, okay, you're singing that. If I were playing, what else would I be doing? I think that's how my mind worked in those moments.
And that's so important, because as a keyboard player, that's where your mind goes.
Yes.
You see the keyboard,
yes.
right?
Yes. Whenever someone sings anything, I can see the keyboard in my head. I'm even this nerdy. I can see the sheet music.
Oh, yes.
In my head.
Yes, that's good.
And I think that's how I can just hear something for even 30 seconds and just do it.
And even as a vocalist now, you see it in solfege, right? You see the
yes, I do. Solfege is important.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we maintained friendship in high school years. I know we both had great times at Pell City High School. I was mainly in band. You were also in band. You did choir for a little bit.
Yeah, I did band because of you.
Rocking out on the keyboard there on the sidelines, bro. That was so much fun.
It was.
Rolling that massive thing. That was so.
I served my time.
Yeah, this huge, massive cart.
Yeah.
With rolling casters.
At least 60, 70, 80 pounds. And then the keyboard was really old. Remember that? It was like maybe early 90s. It was old. And then it was heavy.
Right.
And then the case was just as heavy.
Yeah.
So I was working.
Yes.
I did not march, but
Yeah.
It was work rolling it on and off the field.
You
and
had to have a whole team.
Hill.
Yeah, there's a huge hill in our high school. We had to roll it up and down. It's crazy.
Man.
And you survived. But anyway.
Yes, I did.
So we went to JSU together. We were actually roommates freshman year.
Yes.
At Jacksonville State University.
Crow room number 213.
Yeah.
Megan.
Sorry, excuse me. Where'd you get that pizza?
Shout out to our buddy Brent. We love you, man.
Brent Cooper. Yeah. Lots of inside stories and jokes and just great times in college. But tell us a little bit about your college experience. I know, obviously, everyone has their own college experience. I love JSU. I marched in the Southerners. I played saxophone.
Yeah.
Did 1 year of jazz band for piano. I learned a lot from them and being in the combos.
You also took secondary piano.
I did. I took lessons all 4 years because piano was my minor. So I had to fulfill minor requirements. I took, to a certain degree, music theory, oral skills, those things. But yeah, my main degree was in PR, was in public relations. But anyway, tell us about yourself, Nate, all about JSU, your favorite teachers, learning music there. Like, we've kind of gone up to this point. You've learned a lot during your childhood and high school years, but like, what world of possibilities kind of opened up for you in college?
So, by the way, once I moved to Alabama, so I only took formal and regular piano lessons for 3 years.
Right.
And then I moved to Alabama, and because we were so new here, my mom didn't know that there was anyone around here
Miss
who
Joanne.
could keep on teaching
Wonderful
me.
Woman.
Yeah, shout out to my mama. So from 13 to 18, I continued to teach myself. And so then by the time I got to JSU, I feel like my first year at JSU, as far as theory and oral skills went, my first year was just putting a label on everything I already knew, if that makes sense.
And people knew you were talented. I remember people like hearing you sing and play, and they knew you were so talented, man. It was great to see you perform and sing for the first time.
I remember answering all of these questions in music theory because I had been playing piano for longer than anybody in my class at the time. So I was just answering questions, but also asking a lot of questions. I don't know if this is still a thing now, but there was a rivalry between instrumentalists and vocalists because the history of a freshman vocalist, we're dumb because all of our music was taught by rote. While instrumentalists, they've been in band since 5th and 6th grade.
Right.
You know, they know more theory and they can read better than any of us.
Typically, yeah.
But no one knew. And I was a pianist. Come on now. And so I remember like just really, really excelling. And, you know, not in a boastful way, not in an arrogant way. I just had a passion. And so I remember instrumentalists coming up to me asking me questions like, hey, how did you know that? Or how did you figure that out? Or can you help me with my homework? Can you help me study for the test? I was one of the few who didn't have a real rivalry or beef with any instrumentalists. And I think it's because I could play the piano.
Right.
So it really served me well. It was maybe music theory level 103. It's when I learned about borrowed chords and secondary dominance.
Yes.
And I remember specifically my teacher, Dr. Doug Gordon.
Yes, Dr. Gordon. What an inspirational guy he is.
Listen.
I need to get him on the podcast. Incredible.
You do.
Wow.
He told a story about a composer, and I don't remember who, but I think it was a late classical, early romantic composer. So we did a lot of listening in Music Theory 3, and he put the whole score in front of us, and he was like, listen, right here, you think he's going into a new key, but he's not. So I think like the chord progression, well, in classical music, I don't know if it's called that, but the form, yes, the
form.
The form was in a new key. He had modulated, but he kept the melody in the original key. And that is what inspired the bridge for Encounter.
Oh, yes.
Because
y'all, this is his single. It's called Encounter.
Yeah.
You need to stop the podcast and go listen to his song Encounter.
Oh, man.
Nate Burch. Yeah,
Yes.
that's such a great one. I didn't know. I never knew that. I don't think I knew that at the time. That it inspired that.
So
yeah, talk about that. Play that.
So that part that goes. So it's in D flat major. So I need an encounter with you. You gonna sing it? An encounter with you. I'm not singing that high, but you go ahead. Heal me where I'm broken, so I can be made whole. I need an encounter with you. An encounter with you. Be Lord over my life and the keeper of my soul.
So here I am.
So yeah, there.
Yeah.
So the melody goes, so here I am, 2, 3, before you. Like it still sounds like we're in D flat.
Right.
But I go to the flat 7.
Yeah.
And so now it sounds as if I'm playing a 4 chord in the key of G flat. Before you, because I think I go there. Da-dum-bum-bum. I am thirsty for more of you, and then I go back into D flat. I wanna be changed, no longer the same. Oh, no one else can do what you do.
Caleb on the saxophone.
Yeah.
I love it.
So Theory 3, that moment, and I'll never forget it, that inspired that bridge because I know I need a bridge and I wanted it to be different.
And that was.
And I really, really think it fit.
It was great. And the flat 7 is so cool too, but also within modes, it's using the mixolydian there. Because the mixolydian is the one with the flat 7 in it.
I'm
you know
not
what I mean?
good with modes, but yes. And that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to like keep the melody in the key of D flat,
Right.
but have the music take you somewhere else.
That's good.
You know, it's so crazy. Every time I sing that, I think of that moment without fail. Every time. That is a moment that just lives in my mind forever.
I think it's important because once you learn certain things and you listen to certain things, you can borrow that,
Yes.
incorporate it within your own music, within your own accompaniment with other vocalists. We'll talk about that later too. Tell us more about your vocal journey throughout college.
Oh,
I'll add this. I'm sure you're going to share some more, but I remember you singing in high school the way you sounded, which was incredible. Such power. You've always had such a like powerhouse vocal just inside of you, just like so powerful. But I remember your transformation in college. Like it went from sounding like churchy almost, you know, like a vocal tone.
Yeah.
Very good. But then when you got classical training, it transformed. Like
it did.
it was like you were an opera singer, you know, classical vocalist. The control and hearing you in your recitals and whatnot, you perform. I remember you performing in First Baptist Jacksonville. I don't know, that holds a few hundred people for sure, but it's just a big building. But
It's a huge building.
yeah, it's a huge building. You filled that room up with your voice.
And let's add, without a microphone.
Without a microphone. Yeah, exactly. Without a microphone. Nate could always sing a huge range of notes. And he used to sing a lot in like a tenor range. But I remember the day when you told me, you're like, bro, I'm actually
Yes.
a baritone. And I've been a baritone for a while. And I was like, no. It was like this crazy moment that he's like, I have to bring you some news, bro. I'm actually a baritone.
Listen, it was as if somebody died. Okay, so
It's like you've been living a lie your whole life.
yeah, my whole life. So in high school, my choir teacher, Miss Carpenter,
Yeah.
she told me that I was a tenor.
And you're still developing. People are still developing, you know.
At the high school age, it's not fair, I'll say,
Yeah.
to label your students, you know, a voice fock.
Right.
But
Say that word again now.
fock.
Do we need to make this an explicit content or?
Fach. It is German. Fa.
Okay.
You have to put the
That's good. I'm not going to attempt to say that.
the Achlaut is what it's called. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. White. But no, like she told me that I was a tenor.
Okay.
But I knew that I had a well-rounded range because for a whole year I sang bass.
Right.
Did you know that in choir?
I don't know that I did, but I can imagine you would be the one because you.
I sang bass, I think, my senior year. And maybe that really developed.
Now, have you always been able to hear all the parts of
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if you remember. So for our senior show in show choir, the girls, God bless them, couldn't. So we sang "Let It Go, Let It Go."
I remember this.
And you know that giant note at the end, "Let the storm rage on."
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, so originally I think that song's in A flat.
Okay.
For the choral arrangement,
B flat.
It was B flat.
I played that. I played for y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, and the sopranos, they could sing the note, but they didn't have the power that was necessary. And so, you know, I've always experimented with my voice up there, down there, anywhere, you know.
Right.
And so my teacher said, "Nate, you sing it." And so I sang it, and the whole class was like, "Oh my God." And so I did that at competitions too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always had the ability to sing everywhere. Anyway, so I auditioned for JSU as a tenor.
Right.
Because that's what I thought that I was. Or also that's what I wanted to be. Look, I love high notes.
Right.
So, I mean, who doesn't?
Right. We got to hear like a whistle note from you today.
I don't have that anymore.
Okay, we're done. Shut off the camera.
I have
I'm
a
just
recording
kidding.
I'll send you, but I don't have that anymore.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
By the way, have you heard the recording of Tori Kelly and Jacob Collier's?
yes,
of Tori
I have.
Kelly
I
and
love
Jacob
it.
Collier.
Yes, I have. I
Wow.
love Tori Kelly. Anyway,
Goodness.
so I auditioned as a tenor, and so my teacher at the time continued to train me as a tenor. So he thought I was a tenor because he said I was making tenor sounds.
Right.
But my production of the sound was not what it needed to be. It was very unhealthy. So like I was yelling every note almost because that's what I had heard in church my entire life. You did whatever you could to get the notes out.
Right.
And so that's the only way that I knew. So 3 years later, I think, right, 2018. My recital, it's finally here, and so I sing, and
In all different languages, or was it just
in 4 different languages: English, Italian, German, French. All of the repertoire was high, and I knew that, but I had learned it, and so it didn't bother me. I remember cracking on the first song because it was so high, and I was so nervous. I don't even think that I was in the best voice that day. But anyway, so my teacher called me the day after and said, "Come over to my house. I'm going to make you lunch, and we need to talk about some things." So I go over there, and he says, "I need to tell you something." And I said, "I failed. I failed my recital." He said, No, you passed, but you're a baritone." And I wanted to cry. Because singing a voice type that's not your voice type,
right.
It's like, those things at parks with the shapes, you try and put this peg in
yes.
It's like trying to put a circle peg in a square opening. It's never going to happen. That's what it was for me.
Yeah.
And it's so funny though, because I remember asking him many times in lessons prior, like, "Hey, can I please be a baritone? This ain't it for me. Can I please?" And he would say, "No, you're a tenor." But he mistook me for a tenor because, one, my voice was so big, and my audition songs were in a high key, so I was just singing incorrectly. So his goal for me as a tenor was to learn how to sing like a tenor. And tenors are supposed to transition and sing lightly as they approach that little, what I call the Tarzan moment. There's a way you have to go about that. And so I learned how to do that. But, once your voice is developed through that, it's supposed to then blossom at the top. Because I'm not a tenor, my voice never blossomed at the top. Right? It stayed light and thin up in that area. And so he said that at my recital, that was the first time that he had heard me really just give it in such a large space. That's when he realized.
Yeah, I love that story. That realization was crazy when you told me that.
I was so sad. I had done all this work.
I know. You've done all this work. It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
But it paid off because I'm teaching high school boys now how to get through those difficult moments in their voice. So a lot of what I learned, it was really worth it, going through all of that and like understanding, not just in like a sympathy kind of way, but like physical empathy also. So those things really, really worked out.
That's awesome, man. So after college, you've been back at Pell City, and that's where you've been ever since, man. And is this your third year?
This is my second year at Pell City.
Okay, my bad.
But my 2.5 year just teaching all around.
I would like to transition to talk all about the organ, the keyboard, and how to accompany vocalists. So first of all, again, I know I'm gonna thank you later, but thank you for being on this podcast, and I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you for having me, man.
We have tons of stories together, just so many things and memories that we could share, but I do not want to.
Things we won't share.
Yeah, things we won't share, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm really thankful for Nate. We've done a ton of things together, living life together, literally in the same dorms and also just high school, college. We've shared stages together. We've played for each other in different capacities, competitions, high school, show choir, whether it be my own music and when I was doing my album stuff. He came to the studio for In the Stillness and played organ for In the Stillness.
That was fun.
And you did a great job, man. That was a fun time. But anyway, we're going to get down to it. I would love for you to share your tips for accompanying a solo vocalist. Like if it's just you and a solo performer, how do you even go about doing this? Because there is a difference between when you are playing something, right? And when you're supporting a vocalist. As an educator, educate us, about the piano to vocal comparison, contrast, and how to accompany and work together.
I think that the keyboardist or the organist just always has to understand that when a singer is singing, your job is to support. He could tell you plenty of stories. I had my days when I would just and like it because I just loved doing it. And sometimes we get that way, like we get so much into ourselves that we just do whatever and don't acknowledge or be sensitive and cater to what else is going on.
Right.
So you just really have to be careful, especially in church, specifically the Black church, because a lot of songs are sang rubato, which means no tempo. It's just ebb and flow, push and pull. So, for example, there's this legendary song that I hate singing, but I'm gonna sing it. I've had some good days. I've had hills to climb. I've had some weary days and sleepless nights. But when I look around and think things over, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. I won't complain. So like so what I did there, like
that's low.
I gave, it is low because I'm a baritone. I tried to give the singer, well, then being myself, just space for the phrase to be heard. When you've been doing this a long time, or like when you observe others for a long time, you notice that, okay, I can hear this, but I can't hear the singer. And so you have to give space so that the singer can do whatever they do. For me, in my heart, what separates band from choir is that we have words and y'all don't, right? The words, above anything else, have to be heard, or else why is the singer there? Just give space and wait. And there were even some times that I mimicked my little vocal decisions. Like right there, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. So you can mimic the melody.
Right.
For me, simple things like that, what I perceive it as, it's that, okay, you're listening. You know where they are, and you definitely know what's coming next, and you're locked in that moment. So just things like that. And so like knowing that, okay, yeah, I'm singing down really, really low, so you don't need to be busy. Or let's say if it were the other way around and I'm really high up in my falsetto, but I'm clearly singing soft, you still don't need to hammer it down. But now you have those moments when you need to go there, being aware of the pacing, being aware of the dynamics, and knowing when you have an interlude and when you don't. That last cadence is, I won't complain. And so now here is the interlude, however you want to do it. Now, that's your time to show off, right? But other than that, I just really choose to be laid back because as a vocalist, I also took an accompanying class in college. So like I really, really learned, hey, it's not about you.
Right.
So hush, or do a lot less.
Yes. But playing the right voicings can go a long way too. Because if you're gonna play less,
absolutely.
you can play open chords and it really open it up.
I also read choral music. So like once my choir learns a full song, I'll stop playing their parts and I'll just play the actual piano part.
Right.
And a lot of it is open, some of it's arpeggiated. So again, about the whole not being busy thing, I won't play a full chord unless we're getting busy.
Right.
So
that's good. And one thing that I learned too is from lots of other people in life is that music is a conversation, right?
Yes.
So it's a give and take. When you're sharing things, I'm listening to you. Like you said, you're listening to the vocalist. And then during those in-between times, you're mimicking, you're going back and forth. When you're making a point, I'm saying, yes, right, that's good. When the preacher's
Exactly.
preaching, you're, amen, brother. You know, there's
Right. So
everyone
now,
can't talk at the same time, and then be chaos. You know,
Yes. So now, on the other hand, there's this song that we do here at this church, and I love it.
Let's hear it,
and,
man.
And I play it on the organ. So it's called "Move Satan."
oh, move Satan.
In this song, I really go back and forth between the vocalists
yeah.
because there is this space, you know. So I feel like there is freedom there. So learn where it is that you have freedom and take it. Or if you don't, that's fine too. So it goes, every time I try to do right, every time I try to treat my neighbor right, every time I try to help someone along the way, Satan gets right there in my way. I say, move, Satan, move, Satan. I want you to get back out of my way. So in those moments where like his phrase ends, I'll do a little.
Okay, triplets.
So I'll just do something to, well, and you don't ever want anything to get boring. That whole song is 4 chords, like most songs are now. I try to really be sensitive and in the fact of, am I doing this little thing because I think it's cool, or am I just trying to spark and maintain engagement? Am I trying to let the singer know, hey, I'm with you. I heard that run that you just did. Now I'm going to support you through it so that you know where you are as you're transitioning that thing. Like I want you to know that I'm with you.
That's
you
good.
know?
Right.
So at least that's how I think. Because I used to play, as I mentioned, I used to play just so arrogantly. I just do whatever I want. But no, it's not in anyone's best interest to just do whatever you want.
Right. Talk a little bit about tone on the organ and how you use that within a service, you know?
So I am not the greatest at this, but I know what I like,
There you go.
and I feel like I know what's appropriate. So in the black church, playing the Hammond organ, you more times than not will play the whole service. Now some preachers are like, no, just no noise right here. But in here, I play pretty much the whole time. Even if it's just like speaking, like prayer, announcements, altar call, like I'm playing the whole time. And so if it's something soft, I will use these 2 right here, which controls this lower manual, and it's just, I will cut this half of the bass pedal off just so that it's nice, it's mellow, like you hear it, but it's not trying to exalt what's going on over there at the microphone. So now, if it's prayer or something, and I'm playing a song, I will turn up some high overtones up here, just so I can kind of solo, like a song we do here. My steps in your word, dear Lord, lead me, guide me every day. Send your anointing, Father, I pray. Order my steps in your way. Please order my steps in your way. So every now and again, I'll do that. And the point is that I want the choir to know what I'm doing so that they can sing softly behind whatever is going on. And also, still talking about engagement, I want everyone else to know, oh, he's playing that song, you know? I really just try to make it intentional.
That's
you know,
good.
like if there is no singer and it's just me and my drummer, or if I have more, if we're just jamming out, anything goes, right? You do whatever you want to do, but when there's a singer, you have to be more spacious and just really play the song as is, right? But when you find those pockets of space, and it can be one measure, it can be four, it can be a whole progression. But when you find those pockets, if you feel something, then do it. I think the best advice I could give to any beginner organist or keyboardist is don't just listen to the instruments. Listen to the vocalists. They need their time to shine, so to speak. So you give it to them. And then when there are no words happening, now what's going on? What can you do? He used to make fun of me because I would bang as I played, and like I would do all of these crazy things.
I would make fun of you, but I loved it too.
Well, it mainly stemmed from I have mainly been a soloist on the piano or whatever my entire life. So I had to teach myself how to incorporate every other instrument into what I'm doing.
That's good.
Now, I tend to be more extra on faster songs, especially if my drummer isn't here on any given Sunday. You know, I have to be more percussive in that manner so that the energy doesn't suffer, you know? But for anything slow, like if there's a sax riff or a guitar motif, I will bring that out so that, again, it's a conversation. The singer needs to know, okay, when I hear that, this is where I should be in the song, or this is where we're about to go. You always want the vocalist to feel safe.
That's good. You always want the vocalist to feel safe.
Yeah.
That's good, because you're supporting them.
So, quick story. I taught private voice and piano at this place in Anniston, Alabama. And I remember this one guy, he came in for like a coaching session. He was like, man, I'm running out of ideas. I don't know what to do on this song. Can you just help me? And so I said, okay, sure. So he sat down. Like, I remember he played, who sings this? Spirit Breakout, you know, Our Father. Da, da, da. Listen, it was... It was a lot, and I was just like, okay. So like the whole time he was doing all of that,
Spirit break out, but his piano playing was breaking out.
It was breaking out, man. So the whole time he was playing, I was like, what can I tell him? I know I don't like what he's doing. How do I say it? What do I say? I said, just watch me. And just so simple.
Right.
And his eyes widened so, like he couldn't believe that there was another option. And that's what no one had taught me back when I first started. So hearing him play, like I recognized myself and I was like, you should try this.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. And simple terms too. Well, not simple terms, but like more music theory stuff. I guess it's simple, but simple in the way that you play it. Instead of playing, if you're only playing chords and you know how to play that way, instead of playing those block chords with all three of those notes of the 1-3-5, play a 1-2-5.
You don't have to play tertiary
or
chords
the
the
1-5.
whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then a sus4, like those are perfect chords for worship moments.
Sus chords like that and like extension chords are something that I learned from you.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
No way.
Yeah, because like I remember hearing like a lot of your early music and like asking myself, why is his playing so different from mine? And in the fact of it's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And like I remember listening, okay, like what is he doing? And I remember always hearing a little crunch somewhere, or like he loves his grace notes. He'll go like something like that. He'll do it all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try that. And once I figured it out, I was like, oh, this is the way to go.
Switching gears a little bit. So I love all that advice. Thank you for sharing, man. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration growing up.
Oddly enough, when I first started playing the piano, I didn't have any instrumental inspirations. A few of my first favorite singers were Patti LaBelle.
There you go. Which we've seen in concert. Together.
Yeah. And Jennifer Holliday, Luther Vandross, just like all of the old people. But again, I really, really listened, and it wasn't like I wasn't listening for nuance or detail. I was just listening to the music enough to learn the song on the piano. Now, like from 13 all throughout high school and college, the first instrumental inspiration I had was Twinkie Clark. So in the gospel world, she is known as the queen of the Hammond B3 organ. So I remember just watching her play on YouTube for hours, just watching her do whatever. But again,
what's the favorite thing that you love from her? Can you recall anything specifically?
So I can't do it, but I try, and it's awful. So she does this thing. Am I live? Yeah. So she does this thing where she'll take a chord and move it down chromatically, but really, really, really fast. Ooh. So like, but she'll go, and like it sounds like the organ is being drained of its power, but it's still so big and loud. It makes you go. It just sends a rush right through you, and I'm like, how are you doing this? I can't do it that fast. I try to do that sometimes and it fails. But I also noticed that in one video, and I still remember this video, in her left hand, she didn't use her thumb at all. And so I would try and do that. Oh, now she's a vocalist too. So I noticed that the runs that she would do on the organ, she was also more than capable of doing them vocally.
So sometimes you have to, it helps to sing it before you can even play it, right?
Or vice versa. I guess it depends on the kind of learner that you are and whichever instrument is natural and not second nature.
That's good.
If that makes sense. So I can do runs better vocally than on the piano, because that's just never really been my portion. I am not that person. I try to be. And every now and again, I'll really, really do it, and I'll be like, yes. But no. So that those were things that I really admired about her also. But I also loved how she would play hymns. She would play it like, what's the word? I don't know, but it would sound like the hymn, like during verse 1, and then that chorus, and then verse 2. She'd let you have it, right? Right. She would be, because by then you've heard it already.
Right.
So now, and it's not that we're showing off. It's just a reimagination, if you will, if that makes sense. Or like, this is how I feel on verse 2. This is how I feel now that I've done the chorus for the second time. Just watching her do all of those things, it really shaped how I wanted to play.
Maybe she'll come on the podcast.
Oh, get her. She ain't doing nothing.
She ain't doing nothing. Where's she live? I'm going there.
Detroit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Go on.
We can take a trip. I can take a trip. We'll go together. We'll definitely.
You ain't gonna go and me and not be there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, tell us some more. I mean, I know she's an inspiration, but tell us some more of your inspiration, your heroes, your musical heroes, man. Who do you listen to now?
I still listen to the Clark sisters and Patti, but now it's for different reasons. Like, when I was in high school, I only listened for all of the cool things, like the high notes and the runs, like everything acrobatic. I'm listening for passion, and I'm listening for the wisdom that's in their voice itself.
That's good.
Even if they just sing a random vowel like oh or hey, like it means something. And I may never know what they meant, but I know it means something to me. And so, that has shaped my singing and my playing also. I did a project about spirituals back in college. And in my research, I learned that the slaves would sing the song, they could sing the same song every day, but from day to day, it was different somehow. So if it was sometimes I feel like a motherless child, the next day it could have been sometimes I feel like a motherless child. And they didn't know anything about theory, and they surely didn't have an audience. They sang it how they felt. And so learning that, like that change, that moment really changed how I perceived music. And it was then that I made a decision to not just listen passively anymore, or to not listen to or listen for what I know is there, but to listen with intent. Like,
That's good.
What are they talking about? There's this song that I learned, and it's by a piano composer. His name is Alexis French.
Okay.
So he's one of my heroes, but it goes like this. Like, so that's the very first part. And so that was one of the first songs that I brought to my accompanying lessons in college.
Yeah.
And I remembered just playing it really heavy because I was only focused on getting the right notes. But by that time in my lesson, I knew the right notes. So my teacher just taught me about nuance and sensitivity. That song has a lot of 16th notes in its melody. And that was the first time that I had learned that note groupings, they don't all have to be the same intensity. She said, try this. Instead of, so I could crescendo through it or decrescendo.
Yes.
And so just simple things like that, add a lot too. And so that opened my mind up. I was like, I can do that?
Right.
PJ Morton, man, I love him. JP Cooper, his songs are really, really story driven. He's a really great storyteller. I don't listen to a lot of this person, but Corey Henry.
Yes, yeah.
As far as the organ,
I've seen him live. He's crazy good. Yeah.
I'm jealous. Now, I've listened to a few of his songs, but even on the organ, he's a storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the things that I'm talking about. Like, he has no words.
Right.
No words. But you can feel all of it. Like, I remember listening to one of his songs in college. I was with a group of friends, and we were playing Monopoly. And I don't know what song by his it was, but the song came on, and like, we were focused in this game. But the song came on, and he did something crazy, and I said, whoa. Whatever that was, he meant that.
Yeah.
Whatever so
that's good.
Yeah, he's really great. Teddy Swims. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not.
So you know the song I Lose Control.
Yeah.
That's him.
Oh, okay.
I saw him live. Man, game changer.
Was it?
Game changer. My heroes are passionate singers or players who can tell the story. Like, they can do all these fancy things. And sometimes that is part of the story. Because, I don't want to hear Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham the same way. Not saying you should add or take away, but the inflections, the pacing, there's a message in every single song. And,
Absolutely.
And how you sing Amazing Grace is going to be different from me.
Right.
But my way isn't more right than yours, and vice versa. It's just whatever your story is, you're making it part of that. That's what we do here.
That's beautiful, man. Now I got to get you to tell us about when you posted Jacob Collier and then it went viral. Tell everyone where you were at, what you did, and the story of Jacob Collier, because most people are familiar with Jacob Collier. Maybe they're not, but.
So shameless plug, I have 63,000 followers on TikTok. And it was because of this video. So I was at the American Choral Directors Association conference in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2023. and the Jason Max Ferdinand singers were performing. So I remember this is maybe song 4 or 5. So like I'm seated 4 rows from the pit. So I'm very close, right? And I remember after every song, because they're a wonderful ensemble, after every song, everybody stood up. And I remember letting my ADHD wander, and I just happened to look over to my right, and maybe like 15 feet over, Jacob Collier was there. He looked me in my face and said, and I was like, ah! I was like, no, so.
And then you fainted and
right.
put a towel over you.
So I looked over and then I looked back and then I was like, I know that sweater anywhere. So I looked back over and sure enough, I was like, whoa. Like I was 10 feet away from this man.
Yeah.
Like song 8 or 9, it was close to the last song. So I look over and he's gone. So I look at the program again, and the last song is a song that he composed for this choral ensemble.
Oh, wow.
And so Dr. Jason, he introduced the next song and what it was about, and then he said, please welcome Jacob Collier. Listen, this is an audience of like 2,000, 3,000 choral directors and choral majors. We went stupid.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He walked on stage and we were like, yeah. If you live under a rock, he does this thing, and apparently he didn't trademark this. Some other guy did. He turns the entire audience into a choir. He starts you off with one pitch. From what I've seen in person, he only does 3-note chords. So he'll go, ah, and have everybody just sustain it. And then he'll go, and then they'll sing it. And so he'll just have us all in harmony, and then he'll just do this or that. And somehow audiences all around know that, okay, we're moving diatonically, right? Primarily by step. I videoed that moment because I was like, is this happening? I videoed the whole song, but when that moment happened, my phone was about to die.
Oh, wow.
I was like, if my phone dies, this is going to be the worst day of my life.
Oh, no.
So that moment started. He went in the mic and said, ah, and then he put it down, and then he just kept on going. And so I knew that if I sing straight into my phone, they're not going to hear what else is going on. So as hard as it was to not sing, I had to be quiet. I posted just that clip on my TikTok, and within 24 hours, it went viral. Altogether, it has over 100 million views. So
I saw other people posting about it that I knew didn't know you reposting it. And I was like, this is so cool, man.
Yeah. So then I posted the entire song on YouTube, and Jason Max commented on my video and said, would you please take this down? Because bits and pieces of that was going to be used for Jacob's album.
So you had to take that down promptly.
Yeah, I had to take it down. And yes.
You didn't comment and be like, I'm so sorry, but no.
No. I don't want to burn a bridge with him. No.
That's a neat video. Now, what's your Instagram and what's your TikTok and what's all your stuff so people can find you?
My Instagram is no, it's not. It's n.b major 9.
Did y'all pick up on that?
Right. B major 9, a little something. And my TikTok is Nate BU97.
Nice. Hope you guys got that. Go follow him. Go watch the Jacob Collier video because it's pretty cool.
I actually watched it a couple of days ago because I hadn't watched it in months. Mm-hmm. It was still as special just watching it from my phone as it was being there in that moment. I had learned to listen for passion, not necessarily qualities. That was where my heart was.
Now we're almost done, but tell us a little bit about if there's anything in the future that you'd like to hope to do one day as far anything musically, career goals, coaching, teaching, performing, whatever it may be, just any goals that you have in mind that you'd like to do.
in January, I went to a conference. Was it? Yeah, it was the Jazz Education Network conference. It was in New Orleans, of all places, right? There was a session there about Black music vocal pedagogy. And that was something that I had been interested in for a long time. I just never knew that it had a name. And I had asked questions in college about my technique and do I use the same technique for different genres or styles. I just never got the answer that I felt like I wanted. And so at that session, they just said so many things that I cared about, and just so many things that confirmed that, yes, this is what I'm really passionate about. Because I don't want to sing Trouble in My Way like an opera singer. In fact, it was so funny. This one time in 2022, I was leading worship with a friend in Tuscaloosa, and I was hoarse. I did not have a good voice this night. So typically, when I'm not in good voice, I turn my technique into overdrive so that I can be safe. And so I didn't think I sounded like an opera singer, but I got off stage, and then after church, someone said, "Are you classically trained?" I was like, I don't want you to know that. So anyway, I know that classical training isn't the way when there's so much more music out there, surely. So after that session, I said, "How can I know what you know?" And she said, "There aren't too many schools out here that offer this kind of thing. It's still fresh." Conveniently, there was a professor from Shenandoah University who overheard me speaking about how much I enjoyed this session, that it's my passion, it's the next thing that I want to learn. And she said, "Come here." So I went over to her, and she said, "This is where you need to be if this is what you want to learn." I have started my grad school application process. Grad school is the next step, and I'm going to study contemporary voice pedagogy.
I love that, Nate. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to share. Share, man. Nate, I love you, man.
I love you, man.
And I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see how God continues to use you in your life with your music, with your teaching. I know you're making a huge impact on a lot of students at Pell City High School.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to what you learn next. I'm always a phone call away, and y'all go follow him on all the socials, okay?
Even if he doesn't answer his phone.
Speaking of that, by the way.
He means well. He just, listen, this man is busier than Beyonce. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
No, that's not true. But I will say, speaking of phone calls, I know we mentioned your mom. You mentioned your mom one other time. Miss Joanne, she was a lovely lady, Nate's mother, and I remember your mom calling you. I mean, ever since, high school, college. So many times a day. Just at least 1, 2, 3 times a day. She just
It was
called
3
him.
Minimum.
Oh, yeah. Checking in on him all the time.
Yes. That's my
I know
mom.
you must miss your mom. Man.
I do.
And she was a great lady. But
she was.
Yeah, dude. But thank you so much. And y'all subscribe to the channel on YouTube and,
check it out.
Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're listening to this podcast. And thank you guys so much. And I hope you benefited from this. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.